Hey y'all, this is AL Pick Madame. Y'all see the title, so let's go ahead and get into this. Okay, so the episode started out with the Pointer Sisters actually doing a recording, a taping at Soul Train. And immediately I started seeing a couple of the sisters eyeing each other, and I'm like, okay, what in the world? Please tell me they're not already about to set it off. Well, of course. That's exactly what was going on. And it was so bad that Tessa had to tell them cut. And we already know how that go. Dawn ain't got time for that. Time is money. And they were wasting money. All I know is they in the middle of taping, and June, who is being played by Demetria McKinney. If y'all don't know who she is, Demetria McKinney has been, well, I first saw her. I don't know what she did before that, if anything. I first saw her in a Tyler Perry play. And it was the Tyler Perry play, Why Did I Get Married? Before the movie came out or whatever. I used to watch the stage plays and all that stuff long before he made it big and all that stuff. If you didn't see the plays, you might have saw her if you watched any of the other Tyler Perry stuff where she actually played the drug addicted parent, well, became a drug addict parent on Tyler Perry's The House of Pain. Every now and again, she showed up on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I don't know if it's still going on, but she was dating Roger Bob. Now, he has like his own production company or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he has his hands in so many different pots, pans, bags, everything else. And I just really hope that despite the actual talent that she has, hopefully she didn't do anything strange to get to that, level. Because something more recent in recent years that she's done. She played Whitney Houston in the Bobby Christina TV1 movie that they did. She did an amazing job, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to people like Whitney Houston or anybody related to her, like people on that level, if they talking about somebody like that, they are very particular about who they are going to have play her. People were reading when what was that girl's name? Oh my gosh, I had her name in my head. She's a singer as well, and she played Whitney Houston. And people were reading the movie, and I guess it was like other people in the movie, and I never watched it because the reviews of it were so bad. I was like, well, dang, I might not need to waste my time watching this if y'all gonna read it like that. But when they did the, I guess the cover of it, she had on like what Whitney has had on before at some point, where she had her hair like wavy, and she had on like a, I guess, sleeveless tank top that was white and some jeans. I don't know why I can't think of that woman's name, but anyway. She's an Yaya. She's an amazing singer. And people were reading that movie down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I live for Whitney. So for everybody and their mama to be reading this, I guess I'm not gonna waste my time watching it. But anyway, yeah, Demetria McKinney has been in a lot of stuff. She can sing down. Now, when I first saw her, before she ever sang the first note, I was looking at her like, and I mean, I would have never even thought that the heifer could sing, but when she was on that stage play, out of nowhere, she started singing, and I was like, wait a minute. They had other people on there who they'd had singing and all this other stuff, and I was like, well, dang, for her to be the side chick, she can sing better than the other people on here. What is going on? But I digress. I'm sorry, y'all. She's done a lot of stuff. She's very talented. She's an amazing actress, in my opinion. She's an amazing singer, in my opinion. I feel as though her career has not gone where it could have gone. It has not reached the heights that it could have been at. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if she's being slightly blackballed in certain areas. I don't know. It seems like she cannot go past certain levels. But it seems like maybe it's just a slow climb. Maybe that's what it is. But I think she's an amazing actress. Anyway, she's playing June Pointer. And her and one of the other sisters get into it. She done read this heifer talking about somebody need to do something about their mouth or something. And she was like, well, somebody can't keep their mouth off of somebody else's man. I was like, basically implying that one of the other sisters was kissing and or doing other things that are explicit to their man. And so they get into it, and like I said, Tessa has, like hollered, cut, like off rip, because the most is going on and you can see the tension. And June storms off the set. Nobody sees where she goes and all of that. So it gets to a point where, since Tessa has basically been put into this role of you gonna have to wrangle everybody, you gonna have to do everything, Don is out here doing whatever he want to do. He out at meetings all the time. If he ain't at a meeting, he out screwing people all the time. If he ain't out screwing everybody, he's somewhere with his brain going crazy and just not knowing what is going on. Like, the migraines are so massive. It's just like literally, when people do this is what it seems like his brain seems to be doing. So all kinds of stuff is going on. She's playing producer. She didn't put on so many hats. I'm like, Lord. So she has to wrangle the talent. It gets to a point where even Don, done rolled up, and he trying to talk to her and calm her down. They done brought her in his office. Well, that went sideways, because while Don and Tessa were talking briefly, June is set up here, went in his drawer, took the gun that he had in his drawer, and disappeared. Nobody knows where she is. Well, they go to talk to the other sisters, and they like, look, I know you might know where she is. Let us know where she is. And first they all tried to play it off like they didn't know where she could have possibly gone. And they were like, I think Tessa was like, well, how far do you think she would get with a gun? So they realized the seriousness of the situation, and that's when they felt inclined to finally say, yeah, she probably went over to the married man's house who she'd been dealing with to confront him because he tried her. I don't know if she knew he was married or whatever. I don't remember. Y'all let me know down in the comment section. But yeah. Oh no, this is what happened. She did know he was married, but he did the typical thing and said, oh no, baby, I'm leaving her. And of course he ain't leaving her and whatever. So that's what happened with that. Y'all, I'm the type of person that there are certain people that I know of who are amazing talents, who big names, all this other stuff. And I said to myself, okay, what songs do I know of theirs? Like, off the top of my head, I couldn't think of anything. So when I Googled them, meaning, the Pointer Sisters, I was like, I know something, at least one song better jump out in my mind. Y'all, I know Steam Heat, I know Jump, I know I'm So Excited, I know Fire, and I know How Long, which in parentheses, which is in addition to the rest of the song. The name of this song is How Long, and in parentheses it says, Bet You Got a Chick on the Side. Well, we'll get into that later on. So Don is into getting all these sponsorships, and that's where he's been in a lot of these cases. And y'all, when I tell y'all, the biggest smile came over my face when I saw him open up a package of oil sheen products, oil sheen grease. And I'm like, wait a minute, don't do it. But yeah, he tried to do, sponsorships and all this other stuff. If you've ever seen any of the commercials that they've done, I know I've seen Coca-Cola, I've seen oil sheen commercials. Did they do pink oil moisturizer? Like, I've seen all kinds of sponsorships over the years. So that was like one of his newer ones that, they rolled out, and they were going to start, I think, handing it out to the dancers and all the other stuff. Y'all, so let's fast forward. Simone and JT are linking up at her house. She apologizes to him for how things went down the last time when she thought she was big and bad. And he had to let her know that ain't gonna always fly. You're gonna have to find you another way. Sometimes you gotta just try to get away to live, survive, or whatever. So it gets to a point where she, is, making it very, very obvious that she still has feelings for him. And he was like, look, just because I'm taking up for you, that doesn't mean that I don't still care. And so in her mind, she kind of looking like, oh, he like me too still. Okay, cool. So she takes it upon herself to give JT her father's pick, his guitar pick. And at first I didn't know what it was. I was like, I know I'm supposed to know what this is. Like, is this screen too dark in this moment? But later on, I realized that it's a guitar pick. So I was like, okay. So, at first he was just like, I can't take it, whatever, whatever. And he eventually took it. And her mama come in the room and she greets him, and Simone looking at her like, girl, why are you in here? Why are you getting your life because he in here? And it was just bad. So she, you know, was like, you know, thank you for getting my job back, because she'd been temporarily blackballed because of Harley putting out information, trying to make it, you know, that's how some people do. They will sit up there and tarnish your name and do all this because you wouldn't give it up. And it's like, really? That's what you do? But because JT went and set the record straight, she was able to get her job back. Cool. So anyway, to make a long story short, after JT went on by his business, Simone and her mama had a bonding moment. And this is when they actually did, what is that song? They did that song. I had not heard that song in so long. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think of it without looking it up. Oh my gosh. Don't Rain on My Parade or something like that. I have not heard that song in so long, but it was an amazing moment. And it's like she envisioned the whole thing in her head with her and her mama singing back and forth. But in reality, her mama was still sitting behind her on her bed, and her mama could still sense that Simone was in her happy place, even though she really was over there singing the song or whatever. So she went up behind her, hugged her from behind. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad y'all had a moment, because I was tired. How y'all live together, y'all don't want to speak to each other, and it's just too much tension. Ain't nobody got time. So anyway, Dawn then rolled up on the married man, then rolled up on June. I mean, what is her name? Is it June? Wait a minute. Was I saying June? I think her name is June. Rolled up on June, who is Demetria McKinney. Rolled up on her at the married man's house. She over there at the door, knocking on the door, trying to get the married man to come out. He opened up a window and was like, what you doing at my house? I told you not to come to my house. My wife will be here any minute, all this other stuff. Like, she is furious. I'm glad he didn't open the door, because she had Dawn's gun and he was going to get good and shot. So anyway, Dawn has to kind of talk her off the ledge. And he was like, look, this is not going to be good for your career. You can't sit up here and do this. You know, people going to be on the way. Don't do this. So he talked her off the ledge. She gives him the gun back, and the police arrive as they were walking down the driveway to get in his car. So the police, you know, for the sake of what's going on nowadays, I have to let y'all know that, of course, it was 2 white male police officers, and they were looking at him and her and using that tone like, all right, now that's a nice vehicle right there that you got. That's, how much is that going for nowadays? I was like, oh my gosh, please stop. So anyway, the other police officer, because he was like, where do I know you from? Because he asked for license and registration, and he showed him his ID, and he was like, everything is in my glove compartment. And since, for any of y'all who didn't watch the first season, or you just didn't know in general, apparently he had actually been a police officer at one point in time. And so since he's been a police officer, he knows how it goes. So that's why he politely told them the license and registration is over there in the car. And he looked at him like, if you want it, I'm gonna need for you to go over there and get it, because I'm black and I know how y'all get down. Like, he really was looking like that. I felt like that was the look that he was giving. I could have been wrong. Y'all let me know if I was wrong in the comment section. I really do feel like that was the look that he was giving. Anyway, the other guy, he was like, you're Don Cornelius. You host the Soul Train. Oh my God. Both of them wanted autographs and all of that. Went on about their business. And I was just like, okay. Your celebrity helped you out in this case, because normally you in trouble and they don't care. All they know is that you black and it's over for you. So I was glad he was able to get out of that situation, because he actually didn't do nothing this time for once in his life. So even June was like, oh, you know, you're popular or whatever. Y'all, anyway. So Don and his business partner, they went to meet up with this dude who was like someone who they're looking to in order to get sponsorship. He like owns Cadillac, or he has some kind of affiliation with Cadillac. And so they're trying to persuade him to, do sponsorship and all this other stuff. And then he looking at them like, why would I do that when my cars fly off the lot? Black people live for a Cadillac. Like, this literally was how he was talking. He was my black people live for Cadillacs. I ain't got to do nothing. Like, they just come in there, get them. And I ain't got no problem with selling no Cadillac. I ain't got no problem with black people coming to me and buying Cadillacs. So they really are trying to persuade them, and was like, well, you need to put them in your advertising and all this other stuff. He looking like, I don't want to hear nothing about that. Don tried to hit him with some actual statistics about the kids and how old they are in between whatever age brackets, the ones that actually watch Soul Train. So he called like his oldest son, I guess it was his oldest son in there, to ask him if he watches Soul Train. And he was like, be honest with me and make sure you tell the truth. That boy lied to his face and said, no, I don't watch Soul Train. Now keep in mind, long before that man called him in there, Don Cornelius looked over. He looked outside and he saw children younger than the one that the daddy told to come in there when he was summoned into their room, that were in there like doing like the little locking dance. And Don had kind of like a little smile on his face. He was like, yeah. And you could hear the music in the background. It was clearly not the type of music that was like Beach Boy music. It wasn't nothing like that. It wasn't none of that. Whatever that was going on during that time was nothing like that. It was clearly music that black people created that was being played in the background. And the little white children were dancing, getting their entire life to it. So that man was looking like, yep, case solved. I proved my point. It is what it is. So they leaving. They can barely even try to set foot to go to the car before that boy come running up to Don Cornelius and was like, Mr. Cornelius, I love your show. Can you please give me your autograph? Don looked at Brooks like, because it just is what it is. Like, that boy already know good and well. You know how his daddy get down. His daddy probably got some dark demons. And, we do later on see he got some kind of demons going on, but whatever. But that boy asked for his autograph because he lived for the show. He did the most. So anyway, y'all, a representative from the Billboard magazine came and wanted to talk to Don Cornelius, but it was kind of a slight, in my opinion, because he was like, hey, I want to talk to you and, get to know you a little bit better. But I do have to go see Dick Clark because he has this hot and up-and-coming artist that I'm excited to see, and her name is Donna something. What is it? And he looked on the paper, and I was like, I bet it's Donna Summer, of course. And of course, it was her. And I was like, oh, y'all have set it off? Okay, cool, do that. And, well, Don was like, well, I'll, show you around and all this other stuff. And, like, the dude was, like, so excited about everything he'd seen. It gets to a point where he wants... Well, Don does not have a press, a person that does press for him or a press agent. He don't have nobody like that in his corner. Don does all the press and promotion and all that stuff. So he is basically giving his own self the task of writing a little write-up on himself and his company and all this other stuff. And he was read about it, and they was like, look, you need to hire somebody. You need to hire a publicist. That's what I want to say. You need to hire a publicist to convey everything that needs to be said within this article, because these people are saying that they want to write an article on you. Well, Brooks, who is the partner, he'd actually set up a situation. He'd asked this woman to do him a favor. The woman owed him a favor. She came in randomly, and he even looking like, where does heifer come from? Didn't nobody ask her to come here? And she introduced herself. I think her name was Joanne something. I don't know if I put it in my notes. But her name was Joanne something, and it got to the point where she introduced herself. She said, look, if you want to be at the top, I'm the one that you need to talk to. And she basically was like, look, you need to run me this amount of money per month in order for me to make magic happen for you. She showed him, because at first he was trying to read her. He was like, why would I pay you $10,000 a month for stuff I could do myself? She had to go ahead and show him receipts, which was the labels, which we've seen earlier in this season. They were on the front and center, plastered all across that paper, And it was all because of her, because she's backing them. She is their publicist, and they are able to be seen and out there and being very visible to the public because of her input, because of who she is. And whatever she does to get the results, she works magic. So she was like, well, if you ever change your mind, give me a call. Gave him her card, and she went on about her business. We'll circle back around to that later on, hopefully, if I remember, but I probably should. So anyway, Tessa and Don, like I said, they ended up going over everything, and she was reading him about it, and whatever. Simone is in June Pointer's room making her some tea. And so she was asking her, well, how did she know that was what she needed? And she explained how she'd been on Broadway, she'd done some stuff, and she lost her voice, and she's had to do what she had to do because she overworked it. And that's how she has been able to kind of keep her voice going and whatever else. And she had this massive headache. So they're talking, and she actually is trying to get advice from her. June told her, look, if you don't want to have a life, feel free to join in on what I have going on, which is all this fame and fortune or whatever. But be prepared to sacrifice everything else. You're going to have to sacrifice love, relationships, and all that other stuff. So she was like, well, I left to go to New York, and I, was done with my boyfriend. So she was like, well, that was a good start. But it's like, girl, you still live for JT. So her mama even told her that she needed to leave JT alone because her whole life is music. So Simone is kind of sobered up a little bit to the idea of what it might need to be. But I don't think she's all the way there yet, because she still really is in love with JT. So she's leaving the room. She, of course, bumps into Don Cornelius. I'm thinking it was going to be at least somebody like Tessa, because Tessa has already told her, what you're going to do is dance, and that's it if you're going to come up in here. No, she bumps into the boss, Don Cornelius. And he looking at her like, what are you doing coming out of her room? You ain't got no business back here. It is forbidden for y'all to be back here. He snatched some out of her hand and tried to walk off. And so she was like, don't you think it's smart of me to use this opportunity to my advantage? I'm an amazing singer. I'm a great singer. And she tried to plead her case, and she was like, why wouldn't I use this as a stepping stone? And of course he did, like he always does. And he read her and was like, you ain't finna be using me as a stepping stone. And he gave her back whatever little planner or whatever it was that she had. And I was like, Lord, I can't. Like, she flat out told him, I'm using you. I was like, girl, why did you say that to Don Cornelius? Like, there are times that he is assuming people are using him and he ain't here for it. You flat out told him, why wouldn't I use you? Why wouldn't I use you? Why wouldn't I use you in order to get ahead? Why wouldn't I do that? I was like, girl, no. Why would you say that to him? So anyway, now they're showing him at the club, y'all. Don and Gerald are talking, and Don really, really trusts Gerald, like, way too much. Even though, before he started doing all that illegal stuff in the back and all that stuff, it had really gotten to a point where I understand why he trusts him. But he really values his opinion, and he wants to know what he thinks about him taking on Elton John, actually coming on Soul Train. He is concerned about the image that is going to be put out there about the show, because the show is supposed to be about Black people, Black music, culture, all things Black. And Elton John is everything but a Black person. His music is clearly not that of what you would typically hear a Black person sing and play in a lot of cases, even though I ain't gonna lie, I love Elton John. Love Elton John. And it was just something that he was just like, I don't know what I should really do. And he was like, you should go for that. You better go ahead and get that in your life. You're going to get all kinds of audiences pulling him in like that. Come on now, do what you got to do. I'm like, why do you think of the financial aspect? You love talking about money. Why wouldn't that have been one of the first things you thought of? I was confused. So anyway, still at the club. Later on that night, while their conversation has ended, the Pointer Sisters are on stage, right? Y'all, June is in her feelings because the married man, acting a fool, and he really ain't doing what he said he was going to do, which was leaving his wife. This man had the audacity to pull up at the club with his wife. June literally is going on stage with her sisters as he's walking in with his wife. I was like, what we not finna do is this. I was like, oh my gosh, this heifer is finna shoot it up. No, somebody please get her. Somebody come get her. Lord. So her sisters was like, look, we know how you feel. We feel your pain, but we got a job to do. So, we'll handle this. Man, they over there, they started announcing what the song was going to be or whatever. They never said what the name of the song was. They said, yeah, we have a new song that we're going to debut here tonight. Have y'all ever heard this song before? I already told y'all earlier, it's a song that I've heard before. Y'all, the only reason why I know this song is because of the chant, as I like to call it, that is spoken. What we do. The song came on, the music was playing first of all, and I was like, okay. So then they started the chant. I bet you got a chick on the side. I know you got a chick on the side. I was like, I know this song. Oh my gosh. They was reading him throughout that song. And while they were singing the song, June starts circling the room. I said, oh gosh, she finna kill him. No, this heifer probably got a pocket knife in her bosom. What is going on? But her and her sister start circling the room like sharks. And the wife was like, oh, I love this song. I was like, girl, your husband though. Your husband is doing the most. And one of the sisters kind of playfully allows the wife to get up, and she gets her out of the way, and all of them circle him, start pouring drinks on him. June definitely gets one and pours it right on his head. And I mean, that performance was everything. I was like, oh my God, no. So y'all, Don almost caught Gerald. Almost caught him. But the help of June saved his life. So Don realizes, and he outside talking to Gerald or whatever. He was like, what they doing over there? And he noticed the people going into this back alley. And he was like, oh man, you know how people are. They might be, about to go have some fun. You know how people are, man. Don was like, yeah, no, I don't know what they doing on my property. And he started walking over there. So before he get around the corner good enough to really see what's going on, he sees June in the car with the married man making out. And I'm like, bruh, it's so stupid. That's the only thing saved him. So anyway, y'all, Simone is out here trying to get inspiration, and she's writing music, and then she reaches for a picture of her and JT, and I'm like, girl, you're never going to reach your full potential if you out here doing what you're doing. June already told you what it is. It's going to always mess you up in some way. No, y'all, JT was at the club after hours when everybody was gone, and he decided to play because in the first season he did some things too. I already told y'all, her brother and JT, they all were very much so connected musically. JT was out here playing instruments and things, and yeah, he was getting down. He was playing the guitar. He pulled out the pick that she gave him earlier in this episode. He started playing. I was like, yes, Lord, you better do that. So I was here for it. Y'all, the security guard was at his guard station when Don Cornelius pulled up, and he was like, oh, hey, Mr. Cornelius. Oh my gosh, I just want to tell you, I loved your article that was in the Billboard magazine or whatever. the article that was in that Billboard featured him in. And so Don is kind of like, oh, okay, you know, yeah. This man was so excited. He showed him. He was like, hold on, wait a minute, let me show you. Don sat there, and it was like at least one other car behind him waiting to get in. So, you know, he Don Cornelius, they're going to wait anyway. They'll be all right. This man went in there and pulled the paper out. And I mean, it had to be something that was like the size of this. A little bitty random section. I'm talking about, I ain't got nothing that big. I ain't got nothing that big. The paper itself was humongous. And it was like one random little square at the bottom of the paper that apparently had the information that they decided that they wanted to use to put up and down him. So he was mad and in his feelings. So after he saw that, he politely went into his office and called that woman who was the publicist. Well, that ship had sailed. And she was like, I'm sorry, Mr. Cornelius. Thank you for calling me, but I am very, very busy. You should have been getting while the getting was good. But I could recommend somebody who's second best if you don't mind, you know, and, you know, unless you want to wait until I have time again, which, you know, there's no guarantee when that'll be, then ain't nothing I can do for you. Like, oh, well. I was like, no. No. Her name is Joanne Brewer, y'all. But yeah, that help said I'm too busy right now. So I was like, no. Y'all, and I like how they actually, at the end of this, they actually said, rest in peace to Bonnie Pointer. And that is her, yeah. Is that her? I think that's her nickname. Or am I thinking of somebody else? Because somebody's name is Patricia. And a few people have passed away, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm not thinking of somebody else. I'm looking real quick. I had it right. Her real name is Patricia. Patricia Eve. And they call her Bonnie Pointer. But yeah, she passed away on the 8th. She just passed away a couple of days ago. That was so crazy. Like the day before the episode was going to air, I was like, oh my gosh, no. This was crazy. But yeah, I'm glad they actually did, you know, say rest in peace at the end of the episode. And all of that. So yeah, I felt like this was a really great episode. I am excited for the next one that comes on. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy this recap review. Thank you so much for joining me and dropping by my channel. I really appreciate all the love and support that I get. Y'all are so sweet. Y'all have a good night.